Ladies and gentlemen, what happens when you stop caring about him? It's a question that many of us have asked ourselves at some point. We give so much of our hearts, our time, and our energy, and we wonder what happens when we finally stop giving it to someone who doesn't appreciate it. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't appreciate you, you reclaim your peace in ways you never thought possible. Peace is not just the absence of chaos. It is a deep sense of well-being that comes when you stop letting the negativity of others weigh you down. So often we get caught up in trying to fix things, trying to make someone see our worth, and trying to win their approval. But when we're constantly giving our energy to someone who isn't giving it back, we find ourselves drained and emotionally exhausted. When you stop caring, you no longer allow their actions or lack of actions to determine how you feel. You're no longer tethered to their behavior, their moods, or their decisions. You realize that your happiness does not depend on them. It comes from within, from the peace that God has placed in your heart. It's as if a weight is lifted off your shoulders and suddenly you can breathe again. The things that used to upset you, maybe a missed call, a delayed response, a thoughtless word, no longer have the power to throw you off balance. You begin to realize that your emotional state is in your hands, not theirs. This peace allows you to think more clearly and act more decisively. When we're caught in the cycle of trying to please someone who isn't reciprocating, we're often clouded by confusion and doubt. We can't see the full picture because we're too focused on what we want from that person. But when you stop caring, your mind is freed up. You can begin to focus on your own needs, your own goals, and the things that truly bring you joy. Your life is no longer a constant roller coaster of trying to get validation from someone who may never give it to you. Instead, you can focus on building your own life, cultivating your own dreams, and being the person you were always meant to be. This peace also allows you to restore your sense of self-worth. For so long, you may have tied your value to someone else's opinion of you, but when you stop caring, you realize that your worth is intrinsic. You don't need anyone else's approval to know that you're valuable, loved, and capable. Your self-esteem begins to rise, and you start to see yourself in the light of your own potential, not through the lens of someone else's neglect or indifference. The peace you regain is transformative. It creates room for other blessings to enter your life, things that may have been blocked because you were so focused on something that was never meant to last. Peace invites joy, and with joy comes gratitude for the life you have. It allows you to be present with the people who truly value, show up for you, and show up in the beauty of life. You stop focusing on the void left by someone who didn't appreciate you and start embracing the abundance that surrounds you. Your world becomes brighter, and you begin to see the goodness in every day. Peace is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. And when you stop caring about someone who doesn't care for you, make space for that gift to fully enter your life. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, you begin to rediscover your worth in a way that changes everything. For so long, your self-esteem may have been tied to their approval, their recognition, or the way they made you feel. You may have thought that their love or attention was a reflection of who you were, as if their actions somehow validated your existence. But when you let go of the need for that validation, you start to realize something powerful: you are worthy just as you are. Your worth is not determined by anyone's opinion of you, and certainly not by someone who couldn't see or appreciate your true value. As you let go of the emotional attachment to someone who never fully saw you, you begin to recognize your own inherent worth. You see yourself not as someone who is trying to earn love or approval, but as someone who is already worthy of love, respect, and happiness. It's a shift that comes from within, a deep understanding that you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You were created with purpose, with incredible potential, and with qualities that make you uniquely you. And when you stop caring about someone who doesn't recognize those qualities, you stop diminishing yourself in the process. You also start to realize that your worth doesn't hinge on how much someone else cares for you. So many times we give so much of ourselves to others, often losing sight of who we are in the process. We pour out love, time, and energy into someone else, and in return we expect the same. But when it doesn't come, when we're left feeling unseen or unappreciated, it can feel like we've given away pieces of ourselves that we can never get back. But when you stop caring about that person's indifference, you begin to rebuild your own sense of self. You realize that your worth isn't something to be given away to someone who can't see its value. Your worth is yours to claim, and no one can take that from you unless you allow them to. It's also important to recognize that when you stop caring about someone who doesn't care for you, you start creating boundaries that protect your self-worth. You begin to understand the importance of self-respect, and you no longer tolerate behavior that diminishes you. Instead of shrinking to fit someone else's idea of you, you stand tall in who you are. You set standards for how you should be treated. You refuse to let anyone treat you less than you deserve. This is not arrogance. This is the recognition of your value and the refusal to let anyone take that for granted. You start demanding the respect you've always deserved, and you attract the kind of relationships that align with your worth. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, you also stop settling. You stop accepting less than what you deserve. You stop tolerating relationships that drain you, that leave you feeling empty, or that make you question your own worth. You begin to see that you deserve better, and as you embrace this new understanding of yourself, you open the door for healthier, more fulfilling connections to enter your life. Your relationships become a reflection of how you see yourself, and they begin to mirror the respect, love, and value that you now give to yourself. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, you open the door for new beginnings in ways you may not even fully realize at first. We often hold on to relationships, friendships, and connections that no longer serve us, thinking that we're protecting something precious, when in reality, we're keeping ourselves stuck in a cycle that's holding us back. The moment you let go of someone who hasn't truly shown up for you, you create space for new possibilities, new relationships, new growth, and new opportunities that align with the person you're becoming. By stopping the emotional investment in someone who doesn't appreciate you, you free up energy that was once spent on trying to fix something or waiting for someone to change. That energy, which may have felt like it was endlessly pouring into a void, now has a chance to flow back to you. And with that energy comes the opportunity for new beginnings. Whether that's the chance to focus on your career, invest in new friendships, or explore passions that you had put on the back burner, letting go of the past allows you to fully embrace what lies ahead. You no longer have to wait around or try to make something work that was never meant to last. You are free to move forward into the life that's waiting for you. The relationships you begin to attract after you stop caring about the ones that don't value you are often far more fulfilling and authentic. When we're stuck in a situation where we're not being truly valued, we often miss the opportunities of real connection because we're so focused on someone who isn't showing up for us. But once you let go, you open yourself up to the possibility of healthier, more balanced relationships. The people who are meant for you will come into your life. They will appreciate you for who you truly are, and they will give you the love and respect that you deserve. By removing yourself from the energy of someone who didn't value you, you create the space for people who will love and cherish you as you are. Not only do you begin to attract better relationships, but you also experience personal growth that was once stifled. Sometimes we stay in toxic situations out of fear or belief that we're not worthy of better. But when you finally stop caring about someone who hasn't recognized your worth, you take the first step toward realizing your own strength. You begin to see just how resilient, powerful, and capable you are of creating the life you want. You stop waiting for someone else to define your worth and instead start seeing yourself through the eyes of someone who understands their own value. You start to step into your own potential, trusting that you are enough just as you are. The new beginnings that come after you stop caring about someone who doesn't care for you are not just limited to relationships. They also touch every part of your life. You might discover new passions, reconnect with old dreams, or even develop new goals that feel more aligned with your purpose. The act of letting go clears away the clutter and makes room for things that truly serve you. Your vision becomes clearer, and you start seeing life from a different perspective. It's no longer about trying to make something work that was never meant to, but about embracing the fullness of what God has in store for you. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, you become stronger in ways that are sometimes hard to explain. We often underestimate the emotional toll that these unbalanced relationships take on us. When we're constantly seeking validation or approval from someone who doesn't give it in return, we weaken ourselves without even realizing it. Our energy, our confidence, and our emotional resilience are slowly drained by the constant effort to make something work that is not working. But when you stop caring about someone who hasn't shown up for you, you begin to reclaim that strength piece by piece. The first thing that happens is that you stop being so emotionally reactive. When you're invested in someone who doesn't value you, their actions, whether they ignore you, dismiss you, or take you for granted, can throw you off balance. You might find yourself constantly on edge, wondering what went wrong or why they aren't treating you the way you deserve. Every little thing becomes magnified, and your emotions are tossed around like a ship in a storm. But when you let go of that emotional attachment, you regain control over your own feelings. You stop letting someone else's behavior dictate your emotional state. And you start to realize that your peace and your happiness don't have to depend on anyone else. You can stand firm in your own sense of self, no longer giving away your emotional power to someone who doesn't appreciate it. You also become stronger because you begin to develop a sense of emotional independence. Instead of looking to someone else for validation, you start to validate yourself. You recognize your own worth without needing someone else to tell you. You begin to understand that your value doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's opinion of you. This realization is incredibly empowering. You stop waiting for external approval and start approving of yourself, knowing that you are more than enough just as you are. This newfound confidence allows you to move through life with a sense of calm assurance because you no longer rely on others to define your worth. As you stop caring about someone who doesn't care for you, you also become stronger in setting boundaries. One of the hardest things in relationships is learning to set boundaries and stand firm in them. Often, when we're emotionally invested in someone who isn't reciprocating, we allow ourselves to be treated in ways that we wouldn't tolerate from anyone else. We make excuses for their behavior, overlook their disrespect, and compromise our own needs to avoid conflict. But when you stop caring, you realize the importance of protecting your emotional well-being. You become unapologetic in drawing lines that keep you safe, and you stop letting anyone take advantage of your kindness, time, and energy. You recognize that you deserve respect, and you become unafraid to demand it. This process of becoming stronger is also about learning to trust yourself again. Often when we care too much about someone who doesn't value us, we start to second-guess our own judgment. We question our instincts, wondering if we're being too sensitive or too demanding. But when you let go, you begin to trust your inner voice. You start to believe in your ability to make the right decisions for yourself. You realize that you are capable of navigating life without needing someone else's constant approval or reassurance. With every step forward, you strengthen your confidence and your ability to handle challenges, knowing that you have everything inside you to succeed and thrive. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, you begin to trust again. Trust is something that can be easily broken, especially when we invest deeply in someone who doesn't reciprocate that commitment. Over time, we may find ourselves questioning our judgment, doubting whether we can trust our instincts, or even wondering if anyone will ever truly appreciate us. But when you stop caring about someone who hasn't treated you with the respect and love you deserve, you free yourself from that cycle of self-doubt. You allow yourself the space to heal and regain the trust you once had in yourself and in others. First, letting go of someone who hasn't valued you means learning to trust your own worth. Often when we're in relationships or friendships where we're not being treated the way we should be, we start to second-guess ourselves. We wonder if maybe we're too much, too demanding, or if we don't deserve better. But when you stop caring about someone who hasn't seen your worth, you start to understand that those doubts were never the truth. Your value was never dependent on someone else's acknowledgement of it. You begin to trust that you are enough exactly as you are. You learn to trust your own instincts, knowing that you deserve relationships where you're treated with kindness, respect, and appreciation. As you let go, you also rebuild your trust in others. Sometimes the fear of being hurt again can make us close ourselves off, not only from the person who caused the hurt, but from anyone else who might come into our lives. We become guarded, hesitant to open up to new connections, afraid that we'll be hurt once more. But when you stop caring about someone who has hurt, you give yourself permission to trust again. It's not about jumping into new relationships blindly, but about allowing yourself to see the potential for healthy, meaningful connections. You start to recognize that not everyone will treat you the same way. There are people out there who will value you, cherish you, and build you up. And by trusting yourself enough to let go, you open the door for those people to enter your life. Stopping the emotional investment in someone who doesn't value you also teaches you to trust the process of healing. After we've been hurt, it can feel as though the pain will never end. We might feel like we'll never be able to move forward, that we'll always carry the weight of that disappointment. But when you stop caring about someone who doesn't care for you, you start to see that healing is a gradual process. You begin to trust that with time the hurt will lessen and eventually fade. You trust that as you focus on yourself and your own growth, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the relationships and opportunities that lie ahead. Trusting the process of healing means understanding that the pain doesn't define you and it doesn't last forever. By letting go and choosing to stop caring about someone who hasn't valued you, you also begin to trust that your future is full of possibility. You stop looking back at what could have been and start looking forward to what will be. You trust that better things are ahead, that the future holds relationships and experiences that will align with who you truly are. When you stop holding on to something that isn't meant for you, you open yourself up to the abundance that's waiting for you. You trust that you deserve joy, peace, and fulfillment, and you make room for those things to enter your life. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, you step into your destiny in a way that feels liberating and empowering. Often we get so caught up in trying to make a relationship work or trying to hold on to someone who doesn't appreciate us that we forget the bigger picture. We lose sight of the fact that our lives are meant for so much more than trying to win the approval or affection of someone who doesn't see our true worth. But when you let go of someone who has not honored you, you clear the path for your true purpose to unfold. The first step in stepping into your destiny is acknowledging that there is something greater ahead for you. When we're emotionally tied to someone who doesn't value us, it can feel like we're stuck in a never-ending cycle of disappointment and heartache. We may feel as though we've hit a wall or that we're somehow unworthy of something better. But once you stop caring about someone who doesn't care for you, you make space in your life for new possibilities. You begin to see that the world is full of opportunities, and your journey is not defined by one person or one relationship. The moment you let go, you open yourself up to new experiences that are in line with your true purpose. You stop allowing someone else's neglect to hold you back from reaching your fullest potential. As you stop investing emotionally in someone who doesn't value you, you start to focus more on your own growth and goals. You begin to realize that you are the one in control of your future, and that your success, happiness, and fulfillment do not depend on anyone else. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to live your best life. You take ownership of your destiny and begin to take steps toward the things that truly matter to you, whether that's a career, a creative pursuit, a personal project, or cultivating meaningful relationships with people who see and appreciate you. Your goals become clearer, and you start taking bold actions to bring them to life. This newfound clarity allows you to make better decisions that are aligned with your purpose. When you're no longer caught up in trying to make someone else's actions or feelings fit into your life, you can start to make decisions that serve you. You become more discerning about who and what you allow into your space. You set boundaries that protect your energy, and you stop settling for anything less than what you truly deserve. You start to surround yourself with people who encourage you, support you, and challenge you to be the best version of yourself. You create a life that's in alignment with your values, and you take steps toward your destiny with a sense of purpose and confidence. Stepping into your destiny also means embracing the idea that everything you've been through has been a lesson that has prepared you for this moment. The struggles, the heartache, and the disappointments are not wasted. They are the very things that have shaped you, made you stronger, and helped you develop the wisdom to recognize what truly matters. You no longer see those experiences as setbacks, but as stepping stones that have led you to the person you are today. You understand that each chapter of your life has been necessary to bring you to this point of clarity and self-awareness. When you stop caring about someone who doesn't value you, you give yourself permission to step boldly into the future that is waiting for you. You trust that everything you need to fulfill your purpose is already within you. And as you embrace your destiny, you realize that your best days are ahead of you, filled with growth, joy, and the fulfillment of the dreams that were always meant to be yours. So today I want to encourage you, let go. Stop caring about what doesn't care for you, and trust that there's something greater in store. Your best days are ahead of you.